Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to this pivotal race in the Karate Gi group between Galeswift and Guerin. It's going to be a good one. My name's Rybon, and I am joined by first time in the commentary booth, Dubward. Dubward, welcome. And what do you think of this race tonight?
Thank you, Rybon. Thank you. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. A lot on the line for both of these runners, I do believe. This is, I believe, the last race for Galeswift in their group, and Guerin might have one more.
That's correct. So, first and second place is already spoken for in the Karate Gi group, with Couch 23 going 5-0 and a Stone Dingley going 4-1. Right now, both of these racers are going to be playing tonight for the opportunity to be third place and match up with a Stone Dingley by going 3-2 or 2-3 potentially. And so for both of these racers, it is pretty much win or go home. Galeswift wins, he is in the play-in race next week. Guerin wins, they have to take out at least one more racer to get to 3-2 and earn that third place spot. So on the line for both of these racers tonight.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, a lot could happen. And it's been so exciting, these groups, man. I can't tell you.
No, it's been fantastic. I mean, I love tournament season. There's so many races to watch. I mean, sometimes we have 15, 17 a day. And whether they're restreamed or not, you just want to watch as many as you can because many of them, all of them, are also important to all the groups standing out there.
Yeah, definitely. We still have this exciting week, I believe, and then next week we move into the early, no, the play-ins, correct? We're trying to get everything kind of wrapped up in group stages here.
That's correct. For 3 weeks, we're the group stage games, and those are wrapping up right now. We have tiebreakers. I know tie is a kind of nasty word around Free Enterprise, but tie in this case means I said it. Sorry. Newspaper me all you want, but the ties are great because that means we get more games next week for tiebreakers to figure out who the 2-3 spot is, who the number 1 spot is. So we have another full week of exciting high stakes Free Enterprise next week. But let's focus on this one right now. We have a telestart. And
Yes,
look at these
sir.
objectives.
Yeah, I'm right off the bat. I'm grateful to have a tele, like easy exit access. The spell development is pretty simple. You just got to go to one location. Yeah, happy with the tele. Hopefully, we can get somebody behind him to really push some damage, or yeah, assist.
Yeah, Tele opens up a lot of things. Early exit, as you mentioned. One thing I like Tele for, I mean, he maintains a spot as an excellent agility anchor throughout the game. As long as you don't give him too many levels, he will hold that agility down in the middle slot for the entirety of the game, up through the moon and everything like that. And he unlocks a
Very true.
number of operations or a number of opportunities like D machine grinds or a few spells that you normally don't have to take care of bosses, such as stopping or weakening a dark elf or anything like that. He's a very versatile character that I don't think gets enough limelight.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
But hey, it looks
And
like we are off, and
here we go.
we will talk a little bit about the objective in a moment. But we get a Palom partner, a Sparkle with a life staff, and a Soma drop for that Tela, along with I believe 2 Gaia drums
There you
or
go.
one Gaia drum.
You can get HP, or excuse me, you can get that Tella's HP up to that 100 mark. It makes him even more useful.
Yep. Throwing that Soma drop on Tela, he doesn't gain MP when he levels up. With only 90 max MP, he can't cast his ultimate spell, Meteo. But he can with that Soma drop, so that unlocks a few options for our racers once they complete ordeals.
Yeah, we'll see how they start. You want to run down the list of objectives? It seems like we're missing the need for a darkness crystal here.
That's true. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean we won't be on the moon, but we
For
have no
now.
objective drawing us up there right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Early loot divergence here too. Interesting.
Yep. So we see Guerin heading on over to the Watery Pass, and Galeswift heading on over to Castle Eblin, finding a monster chest relatively early, which is
Right off
when
the
you
bat.
want to find them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you said, having that exit option, you could probably full clear watery pass here on Garen's side, uh, comfortably. I don't know if you'll get a lot of great things, but you'll get some good starting stuff. That elixir being one of them.
Yep, I believe the loot curves or loot probabilities for both Watery Pass and Castle Eblin are relatively similar. You just don't
There
have
you
to
go.
deal with the chance of a trapped chest here in Watery Pass.
Right.
But
Yeah,
on the
not
flip
bad. Hey,
side, the chests are far more spread out here in Watery Pass. So for the
yeah,
amount of time invested, you may not get as much.
definitely. You're hiking quite a bit, but at least it's one way in, one way out. And then over here on Galeswift, yeah, same deal. I saw a crystal ring there. I believe that was a dwarf axe just now. Nothing's jumping out yet. Well, charm rod.
Charmrod's pretty good for that early Palom. Dwarfax is great for back rowing 3 potential characters we may find later. But yeah, otherwise, not a whole lot to be found by Galeswift over there in Eblin, other than that one trap chest, which could hold something big. He just can't handle it right now.
Right, right. Hey, another exit. Perfect.
I mean, just in case Teller runs out of mana, right?
Right, right.
Find a second Charmrod as well in Castle Eblin.
I think that's
So-
the same one. It's just going through, repeating the, because I think that's the same crystal ring, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong.
I see.
But even still, you've got 2 mages. Why not?
Guerin had completed their looting of Watery Path, and not a whole lot of interest there. I mean, a few random items that could be of use later, like a boomerang to back our own edge, should we find one. But nothing too exciting, and nothing that really is going to help you early game that I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah. Going north, another good spot to loot here. They're all kind of clustered together. Let's go to the basement of Dam Cyan. I pulled
So
many a quality item here. Go ahead.
Yep, Dempsey is a less seen looting spot compared to other locations. Does pull an arty bow, a few arrows. I believe I saw a Leviathan summon as well.
Leviathan summon,
Lots of good items there.
Well, still not bad, but again, there's nothing. But we're only 3 minutes in, so who knows? The Tower of Zot being a necessary objective obviously leads you in the direction of maybe the treasury later on. So the possibility of finding something in the seed is, I mean, with T Wildish is enormous.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure, at least with the group that we have now, if they find that Earth Crystal relatively early, we will be rating that treasury. But for the time being, these 2 players are going to have to deal with what they found. And I'm not sure, outside of like the starting Gaia drum, we found enough to get through a lot of early checks.
Absolutely. I'm not liking it. Not liking it so far. Check Hobbs, maybe, see if you find somebody that can really boost this damage output. Maybe get some levels on Palom.
Early level on Palom are great. Throwing that Guerin throwing that arty bow, poison arrows, Gaia hat onto that Palom, looking to use that Palom primarily as DPS early on. Interested enough, keeping Palom in slot 2 rather than putting Palom in slot 1. That arty bow increasing Guerin's agility on that Palom quite a bit.
Oh, there you go.
And also putting
Accuracy,
Guerin, additionally putting in the middle row would increase accuracy as well. But keep him in slot 1 right now. We have a Golbez up here. That Kane, someone you do want to find here. And Guerin, with that fast Palom, able to get that Venom off. Very good play in this situation, because now we will not have mass paralysis through the entire party.
There you go. Yeah, very heads up. Very nice. I believe Galeswift is in a similar situation since just right behind Guerin. I believe they did slap the same. Oh, well, no, they have different. I didn't see the bow that they strapped on. I thought it was a bow. Golbez. Ooh, Kane with the jump. There we go.
So Galeswift did not get the Venom off in time, but that's okay. Did get a bluff off, and if Kane stays airborne long enough, then we should be perfectly fine heading into the second phase of the Golbez fight with all 3 alive. Guerin, on the meanwhile, Ori plinking away with Palom after having gotten through and letting Kane get eaten here. Should be pretty fine. May throw up a safety Star Veil. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe Tella. He got it on Tella in time. Or they, excuse me.
An excellent play at Galeswift's side. That Kane stayed airborne long enough for Shadow to take a little, be like, yeah, I'm not hungry after all. Out comes the vampire. Out comes the Gaia drum. Golbez is taken care of, or very close to, probably within 100 HP of being removed from the situation. Guerin, meanwhile, is through the Golbez fight.
There you go. Man, very similar. Very so. Just the looting so far has been different, but so far these two are just right on each other's heels. And yeah, so far the bedward check has yet to come into play. So interesting to see where they go from here. But Kane helps out tremendously. I think you have the opportunity to find a lot of good gear for him. Again, with the looting, possibly the treasury, wherever you so choose. But I think Kane's going to be a big help here.
Yep, you definitely want some kind of melee or some kind of physical force on your party. There's just some bosses that you can't handle, especially early game. If you find a Valvalis in the location, these mages are going to be generally helpless in certain situations.
Ooh, a rune axe back there at the back of Hobbs. That's definitely something that Kane can take full advantage of, and if we find any mages out there, can slice and dice.
Yep, Galeswift. If Galeswift did not have a Kane weapon at this point, he does now, and I'm sure he's pretty happy with that. We have Divergence again. Guerin heading over to do football defense. Galeswift heading over to Antlion Cave to take advantage of that now backroad Kane, and take out whatever boss happens to be here. I like both of these plays. However, I don't like the Mom Bomb here at football defense.
Absolutely, that Mom Bomb's going to be tricky. Just a pain in the butt. That's a lot of HP there. They gain what, a couple grand, I believe.
I believe this spot has about 2,000 HP, but the way Mom Bomb works is after you get through about, I want to say 50 to 60% of that amount, it moves into its explode phase. So we'll see this Mom Bomb, grow relatively large pretty quickly. At that point, you either wait for it to explode or do an additional 9,000 damage in order to kill it before it does explode. And that is simply not happening in this situation.
It doesn't seem to be shaking out there that way, no. Hey, a Ruby. Ruby at the bottom of Antlion. Not terrible. I believe a mage, so this jump should just put this to bed. No?
Sadly not. The Ruby is indeed a mage in the elements phase, but Ruby by itself, not a mage. Just a finely coded game.
I get those two mixed up, absolutely. Yeah, this is a perfect game. What are you talking about?
But Ruby is down, as is Mom Bomb over football defense. We get a package on the left side, which is not required, but could have a gated character. We may see Galeswift check that package relatively soon. Meanwhile, football defense down over on Guerin's side, they get rewarded with...
Drumroll?
That black belt's more useful than the light sword, to be honest. We're gonna get that package check relatively quickly, though.
There you go. Oh, wait. Taking a pit stop? Alright. Lilith Rod pickup too. A little happier with that as well. But here we go with the package.
The Rosa. I don't believe we sit through the cutscene for a Rosa right now.
No? Yeah. Possible you could find another one later on, I'm sure. Rosa's pretty good though, but we're filling up our party pretty quick here with just party size 4, so you might want to be a little pickier.
Yep, Rosa is definitely the second best white mage on this flag set. I'd say Fu is probably the best just because of the versatility that he brings to the party. But that package cutscene does cost about 3 to 4 minutes. May not be worth it.
Very true. And like you said, not necessary, so. And we have our Luca key from Bedward. That is giving us access to the sealed cave, which later on will be an objective required.
Yep, objective number 7. One thing we haven't talked about are our objectives. So we do have to forage. We have to defeat the king of the town of monsters. Go through the hook route whether we find a magma key or not. Trade away the rat tail, do the super cannon, Tower of Zot, and the sealed cave. So as mentioned at the top, we don't really have to go to the moon for objective purposes, but our key items could still be up there.
I wonder, yeah, you get you get that early darkness crystal. Do you make that push? I mean, it's a handful of checks relatively in the same location. I guess it's all going to have to depend on how it plays out.
Absolutely. 7 key item checks up on the moon, scattered behind 6 bosses, because we do have those 2 key item checks behind the ribbon room. But also an excellent grind, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see moon based on one of our racers decide to early dive it. But only time will tell in this situation.
Very true. Guerin walking over the steps of Galeswift, gonna go down, check out Ruby. Meanwhile, Galeswift heading over to Fabul Defense. Gonna go talk to Mom Bomb.
So very well matched between our, very well evenly routed between our two runners this evening. The only difference is their choice of loot early on. And I didn't really see anything too advantageous for either one. Maybe that crystal ring that Galeswift found over in Eblin Castle will prove to be pivotal, but otherwise,
Hey,
I think that cursed ring that Guerin
you
just found looting Antlion is more pivotal.
speak it into existence. Well done. Absolutely, yeah. That's a huge pickup. You don't have to necessarily worry about agility for the rest of the seed. You can have all 4 characters get pretty much the levels that they want, get them to their near full potential, and slap a curse ring on them at the end. Have a nice little time with Z.
Indeed, that Tella, when I said early on he's a great anchor, just don't let him gain levels. Forget about that. He can gain all the levels he wants now.
Hella, knock it out the park, bud. I don't see too many issues on Guerin's side with this Ruby. Should get through it relatively quick. We'll see if what they decide to do with that package.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Guerin check it, because the advantage of an early Cecil and early Fu is just so high, even in early Edge. We know Guerin probably won't take it, but it would be unlikely for Guerin to pass up on at least checking it.
Does Cecil hold 2 light swords at the same time, or no? There's limited to the one, correct?
He is, unless we have Omnidexterous on, but we don't in this particular flag set.
Such a shame, such a waste.
So Guerin actually had an easier time, just slightly, with this Mom Bomb. Kept their Gaia Drum from the starting kit for this particular fight. Galeswift has to take a couple extra actions to get the Mom Bomb down, but that Mom Bomb is gone.
There it is. And yeah, here we go with the repeat package check. Galeswift probably going to be, again, disappointed with this lightsaber. Has the opportunity, slightly ahead, I think, on checks to kind of dictate where this seed goes. You either go back to the Baron Inn, check out Ordeals maybe, but other than that, you're kind of running out of options here on the overworld.
Guerin's defying my expectations, though. They are taking this Rosa here from the package. It could prove to be very important. If there is a required hook route and we don't find another source of healing, that Rosa could be a huge force multiplier for Guerin's party.
There we go. We finally get some good divergence. I'm here for this.
So this will give Guerin a party advantage entering, the early game, whereas Galeswift is going to have the advantage of checking spots by about 3 minutes.
Yeah, you did say this is going to be a time sink. Absolutely. Galeswift making their way up Ordeals, going to hopefully be able to get through it to bring Tella online fully. Still no eyes on a Cecil though, and really nothing for Cecil to carry, so I guess that's like far off in the distance, I'm sure, for both of these runners right now.
Yep, other than the light sword that both of these runners currently have right now, nothing for Cecil to really flex his might with. We do have, we may just be relying on the strength of Palom and Quake early on, and the strength of Kane along with a Rune Axe in case we find a Mage Boss, which we did not find here. We found a turtle here at the first spot of Ordeals.
Not bad. Not a bad place. Not a high HP spot, so these waves, if they do hit, I can't imagine they take anybody out. Since they're only doing, what, 5%? Couple percent of his HP pool.
Right around there, 4 to 5%. I believe this spot has about 2,800 HP, and with Liz and Isis coming out, we are going to see this turtle's HP dwindle very quickly. Guerin, in the meanwhile, has to deal with 2 D-Lunars. This is a pretty good spot to find them. I believe about 200 HP for each one of these D-Lunars in this spot should fall relatively quickly.
There you go. 1 down. Galeswift doing great with the Lits, preventing that wave from even coming out, so what was I even thinking?
And fortunately for Galeswift, one of the least punchy spots in the game.
There you go. And we have a Rosa. Welcome.
That worked out pretty well for Guerin in this situation. If that was a longer fight, say an alt gauntlet, or say a Dr. Luggage, then that could have been a bit more of a time sink, but got through it relatively quickly, and sure is pretty happy with that outcome, except for the outcome of Kaipo Lady here getting
This
in the
part. Yeah, this is the part you dread. Galeswift through Ordeals 1, Ordeals 2, back attack, Octopus. How he got
There
up there,
he
we'll
is.
never know.
Girin giving us a little treat, checking the Sand Ruby bed, and we find our Cecil, Dark Knight Cecil still, Paladin eventually, but at least now we know here at the booth, and Girin knows that if you find a Sand Ruby, you have a Paladin waiting for you.
Nice. Very nice. Again, maybe later on down the line, some trap chests and whatnot, you might find something to actually do some damage with too. Although a light sword's not something to sneeze at, I do think. Galeswift not having any issues with this Octomom. They're down. That lit bolt, or lit 2, excuse me, just completely finishing it off. And we'll walk into a key item check, some spells for Tella, and a possible option for Paladin Cecil, which again, behind Sand Ruby.
So Galeswift has shown a lot of game knowledge here, exploiting the elemental weaknesses of not one but two bosses here in RGLs, and making relatively short work of this particular situation. Meanwhile, Girin heading into Baron Inn finds our duplicate character of the seed, another Kane, having lunch with an Asura.
Strange bedfellows. This is a quick fight, I'm sure. Do you take the Kane here? Now, 2 Kanes, they say, are better than 1, but I don't know. You've already started getting some levels on Palom. I don't know here. I don't know if you take the Kane. I can't imagine you would. Especially with the knowledge of that Cecil later on.
An interesting choice. I think 1 Kane is enough in this particular situation. We have Dark Imps here in the second spot, but yeah, you just sat through a very long cutscene for Arosa. I don't think you want to drop her. You have an Artie bow for her, so she has offensive power now. That Palom brings options if you get him to Quake or to Virus. And I don't know if you have enough weapons and equipment to equip 2 Kanes at the moment.
No, not at all. I didn't get a chance to see the key item on Galeswift's side in the mirror room, but it doesn't seem to, according to the tracker, it doesn't appear to be anything significant.
No, I don't believe so. Don't believe so. We just have unlocked Artella and eventually unlocked a Cecil, I believe. Oh, and to answer Max Plus Pi's question in chat, runner will sometimes pause, especially during like a crumble, as that will stop the crumble sound at the very least. And in some cases can speed up the animation slightly by a few frames. I will pause and unpause just to get rid of that annoying sound myself, and then hit run on my party because that seems to increase the speed of the crumble. At least I'm not sure if that's a placebo or not, but generally that's the reason I do it.
Hey, it only works until it doesn't work. I say keep going. Oof, and Girin having trouble with that second spot at Baron. Those Dark Imps, they're fast and they're punchy.
And that's something we don't see often. We saw Girin cast Pig on all 3 Dark Imps. The Dark Imps not with the boss bit, able to be piggy, can be frogged, can be minied, can be, just killed with a coffin. Pig is a very low probability chance of landing on a target, which is why we don't see it often. And unfortunately for this particular situation, Piggy does not lower the physical offensive capability of the target. So those Dark Elves were still hitting just as hard, even though they were pigs.
Not nice. Not nice. We'll see if they go a different route here this time. Possibly throwing a Silk Web up, giving them some time to think, or just AoE attack with a Zeus Rage. And a Fireball.
The spot have just shy of 4,000 HP, divided across 3 characters. All these Dark Elves are down about, I want to say, 1,000 HP each, so we're pretty close to finishing this fight, but it's going to be rough with how hard they hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Tacking on some good damage here across, though, but yeah, they're quick with it, too. I do believe Girin's still holding on to that curse ring. Doesn't really need to make much use of it, I believe, in the overworld just yet. Really going to come in handy when they get underground, especially in that sealed cave where that evil wall was coming at you like it had something to do. Ooh.
Well, we have found a magma key. That is our likely logical underground access, and mean these dark imps were generally required. A relatively punchy spot, not a place you want to find them, but both of our runners are through that spot, and both will have underground access going forward.
There you go. Kane having no choice but to join the party on Galeswift's side, considering they didn't take that Rosa. Yeah, these two have caught up relatively caught up here.
Relatively matched. Guerin is
Well,
up that Rosa, whereas Galeswift is up that Mount Ordeals.
Ordeals, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I assume you immediately go underground here. It opens up a world of possibilities for you. Looting, key item checks. I say why not? Plus, yeah, I mean, what will drive you to go to Ordeals on Guerin's side right away? Other than, again, that Cecil sitting in bed, but you're a ways off before you got to deal with that.
Yeah, I would probably avoid Ordeals right now if I was Guerin, simply because I've avoided it thus far. I probably would have done it before Baron Inn if I was going to do it.
Yeah.
As well as you have access to gated shops underground. So you have 3 gated shops in Tamra, in Dwarf Castle, in Feymarch. Any one of those could have, key or J items that are useful, like a siren, for example. One siren will get that quake on that Palom and really unlock your offense's capability in case there happens to be something nasty up there in Ordeal.
Most definitely. Yeah. So mirror images here, yeah. We'll go see how they diverge once they get through the newly opened volcano.
Yeah, I think, let's see, Galeswift looks to be heading to Dwarf Castle first, probably just doing some shopping, maybe looking for those sirens I mentioned, may also be looking for other few key J items such as coffins, hourglass tooth, Bacchus wines. Bacchus wines being more valuable for Galeswift, having not 1 but 2 canes in party right now.
Absolutely. You want to get them ahead of the pack, start dealing some damage as quickly as possible. Going to be a little expensive. We had some routing divergence or looting divergence in the beginning, but no runner really has come up with anything very, I don't know, just awe-inspiring to really, really boost your wallet here. And again, not finding anything down there.
The biggest item I've seen thus far is that curse ring over on Guerin's side, probably the most impactful item, but there's still a lot of time left.
Very true. Very true.
So
and there you go.
A full loot of Feymarch from Guerin. We found monsters, which means the reset. Those 5 warriors in there are very punchy, going to have a hard time with it trying to fight it at the moment.
Yeah.
But it allows Guerin to full loot the remainder of Feymarch.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we said, didn't really see anything impressive in that first room, so just going to go ahead and skip it and then see what was in the rest of the Feymarch, which you have potential to pull some really good items.
And there are the sirens waiting in Tamra. So Galeswift pick you up a stack of about 5 or 6, I believe. We'll probably pop a few, get that Palom online with Quake and Virus. Well, has Virus already, but will have Quake. Also have the coffins to go with it, so it's going to be a relatively easy matter to take care of those dragons before those eggs hatch.
Verifying the seed on Galeswift's side, I did not get a chance to see the Job Dwarf's profession.
I didn't either, but verified nonetheless. Chat help you out here, a conservation scientist.
There we go. And now we get a chance. Yeah, nothing in Feymarch either. It's looking pretty heavy that moon is going to have a good majority of these items required. So I do see, once that darkness crystal is obtained, I see high priority on the moon here, given the fact that we've come up with pretty much zilch.
Yep, there are 28 key item checks in the game. There are 16 key items. There's 17 technically with, that darkness, that crystal, but we get that through different means rather than looting key items. So 16 key items plus a path we could loot from these 28 spots. The more zonks we find, and we found a zonk at the start. We found a zonk at the top of football defense. We found a zonk here. We're running out of zonks. The more zonks we find here on Earth, the more key item or value waits on the moon.
So many zonks. Got to check out the bottom of Feymarch there. one of our required objectives, the king of the town of monsters, and that's another DKC. So which one do you go after first? The one in the bed or no? Yeah, that's gonna punch. That's gonna hurt a lot right now. I can't imagine these two are equipped right now to take either of them on. Mega Sisters in the Asura spot. Although that Rune Axe.
The Rune Axe is valuable, but we just don't have the defense yet. We had an enemy armor or something like that, we could, but
not at all. Yeah. So for another day. We'll route in the Yang pre-bonk since we don't have the ban, but might as well. It's another free key item check with Sheila 1 back in the overworld. And Galeswift about to get their information of a lot of pain at the bottom of Feymarch and not a whole lot else. Taking on, I like it. Has the agility to make it work. Taking on the trap chest, getting that quake off. Oh, but not enough. Not enough to push it. Oh, unfortunate. That would have been super, super nice to see if, man, we could finally get some good equipment here.
But the Cane getting the bullies off gets the kill.
I'm not mad at it. With 1 HP. Whew. Whew.
Rewarded with arty arrows, which are useful niche items.
Thank you all for your sacrifice. It's unfortunate though, but still, yeah, still a useful item. Not mad, just disappointed.
Nice chunk of XP too. But those arty arrows are important because they are one of the few items, 3 in the game, that strike dragon weakness. Arty arrows, dragoon spear, and the dragon whip. So those sirens summon up dragons. You could save your coffins and just use an elven bow, a palom, and arty arrows to get through them relatively quickly.
Like it. I like it. And it could be either. I mean, we could save some of those sirens for once you get to the moon. We got some nice gold dragons sitting up there with a lot of money in their pockets. And I think we got a couple hourglasses in the mix, or at least a silk web or two. I say why not?
Yeah, I believe hourglasses right now are still MIA, but very likely to find them down in Eblin or maybe even up on the moon when we eventually get up there. But yeah, that definitely opens up another option.
Very true. As Guerin makes us their way up the ordeals to get that tele again, more online, or online period, excuse me. And Galeswift gonna take a peek at the Feymarch there. This ordeals, I can't imagine is going to be too painful for Guerin at all. They've done, I mean, enough to put out the damage on Octomom, especially with those lits, like you said, taking advantage of the weakness. And yeah, I just don't see this being too much of a hassle for them.
Nope, Guerin should be through this ordeal relatively quickly. Galeswift, however, does have that slight advantage, does have, did spy Tamra, pick up those sirens, will be able to pick up quite a few levels early on if he chooses to do so. I think he already popped at least 1 egg. So Quake should be available, as we did see. So a little bit of advantage there in terms of levels, in terms of power, but nothing insurmountable. Galeswift doing something that I love doing. A couple of cheeky checks here down in Sylph Cave. Very high chance of high loot here in Sylph Cave, and also equipped with that palom, probably feeling like, if I do find a trap chest, I can take it.
Yeah, keep going, Galeswift. Why not? And showing really the full use of that curse ring, getting the agility down. I'm curious what's on palom. They seem to be acting pretty quick here.
Yeah, I believe it may be the crystal ring that Galeswift found over in Castle Eblin. So showing its +5 agility might, finding the Sork robe. These are relatively low rolls for Sylph Cave. Sylph Cave is a great location we don't see very often, because even though you can one-shot with palom, you may not always have that opportunity based on the seed. But if you take on, say, Castle Eblin, that has like a 36% chance at a tier 8, which includes, a shiny sword for Cecil or an adamant armor. Here in Sylph Cave, it's a 31% chance, so that's actually quite high. There's a 1 in 10 chance of each one of these trap chests giving you an adamant armor.
Nice. So far, not too much though, but
However, there are
Right.
still 2 fights in here in these trap chests that you cannot outspeed with Quake alone. Those would be the centipedes, and those would be the 2 marbles. And here are the 2 centipedes right now.
Speak of the devil.
They will get their attacks off, however, and down goes Palom, unfortunately.
This would be an unfortunate wipe here. It's an unfortunate wipe here. You just did all that loot. I mean, you have the knowledge at least, but do you really take the time to... I guess you'd have to really pick and choose what you're going after. Can't imagine that Sorkro being a high priority to go after again, but possibly.
Now, Guerin saying, I am done with that side of Sylph Cave right now. Let's head on down to Yong and take the chest on the way down here. Fighting another monster chest, finding what is one of the more dangerous fights because these dark trees are relatively quick. And takes
And resetting up. Yeah. Yep. Don't blame him. I like the safety save there. But taking it again. Okay. Well, why not? Let's hope they come up with something that's really impactful.
Gets the run glitch off, or the run buffer off here, and takes down all 4 bosses. One other advantage of doing Sylph Cave Trap Chest, a very high amount of XP, close to a siren for each one. Gets a white shirt, which will be useful for an eventual white mage. And again, another trap chest, 6 ghosts, should be relatively easy for Galeswift.
Yeah, just kind of, cutting through it. It's nice. Like you said, the XP boosts are fantastic. Galeswift off to an early start with a medium grind. We're a small grind here. Like you said, popping the siren, getting the egg. Guerin making their way down ordeals with a online tele, a ready to go Paladin Cecil someday, somehow. And yeah, like I said, still kind of running out of options here. Might have to start doing some underground checks, but going in to do this Sheila 1 check since they did bop Yang on the head.
Yep, we will see what Sheila has for us as we see another pack of ghosts going down on Galeswift's side. I believe we're down to 1 trap chest remaining. No, maybe 2. By the crystal story. And a darkness crystal from Sheila 1.
Wow. Well, grateful for that crystal sword. Absolutely. That's so far, I mean, is the best item I've seen for Cecil. So really going to have a leg up if they go that route. Guerin, where are you going to go is the question.
So Guerin has some options, maybe not some of the best options, but a D machine grind is on the table for Guerin right now with that darkness crystal and that unlocked tele.
That's just my work. I would love to see a D machine grind here. It's rarely seen in the group stages, but why not? Definitely something that's going to have to be utilized in the bracket stages, I believe, since it's quite a change in the flags.
To answer a question from chat, Dumpster, I noticed your question about the run buffer and when do you run buffer before the command window comes up. It's actually you kind of want to do it same frame as your command window comes up, because while the can't run message is up, the ATB doesn't tick, at least for the enemies, which gives you an opportunity to get your checks or your commands in before further ATB checks come in. As a result, then you can actually sneak in, say, a quake or some kind of action prior to the enemies getting an action off.
Yeah, I tried. It probably doesn't work for me most of the time. I'm probably using it incorrectly, but it's something you throw it in there, gives you a little breathing room. It's always nice.
And hello, RPG Limit Break, raiding with a party. Thanks for coming on in. We are about 35 minutes into this pivotal match here in the Karate Geek group between Galeswift and Guerin. Guerin having a Darkness Crystal heading to the moon. Galeswift having done a few trap chests down in Sylph Cave. So we have quite a bit of divergence between our two runners, and it remains to be seen who happens to spike power and who happens to get their first objective on the board.
Yeah, Guerin heading to the moon. Not mad. Gonna definitely get the character at least out of it in a shop check, if anything. I don't believe they have the levels yet to really tackle this moon successfully, unless you get lucky with a couple of the the more freer bosses. And Galeswift, on the other hand, going through this dwarf, we see King Odin at our first spot. Never got a chance to see go through Zot yet, so we do not know who's coming behind that dwarf too. But like you mentioned, with the levels, I don't see a lot of sweat on Galeswift's brow. Demist, doable.
Doable, about 3k HP here. Find the Rydia over in Dwarf Castle, a great anchor, but do we need it? Apparently, Galeswift says, I don't know. Maybe one cane is too many, as he appears to be. Meanwhile, Guerin finds a Fu up on the lunar subterranean altar. Our other restricted character, we already know Tella is waiting behind the sand. I'm sorry, Cecil is waiting behind the sand ruby. But finding Fu, pretty much like Tella, but on steroids.
Nice.
So very happy to find him here.
Those are allowed in tournament races, competition. We'll have to get that checked. Yeah, not mad at us at a Fu. Has a handful of his spells on currently, if I'm not mistaken. Not fully powered up.
I don't believe we're fully powered yet on that Fu, but we're probably pretty close. And we're seeing a cheeky check from Guerin here, checking the hairdryer's chest. One of the trap chests over here on the lunar subterranean. Could be very valuable. Could easily spike an adamant armor or something very pivotal from this chest, and turn that Fu into an absolute power. I believe that Fu does have Quake already, so one quick Quake will take care of this fight.
There you go. Hopefully, make up for some of the items that we just haven't seen in this race, and a Zonk behind Dwarf too. Mod on. There's got to be key items somewhere, I'm assuming.
I mean, unless our restreamer Bad Karma forgot to put key items into the sea, they are somewhere. They're just not here on Earth. He could be playing a trick on us.
I didn't get a chance to see what came from those hair dryers.
A bunch of experience at the very least, but unfortunately I missed it too.
That's very true. Which, like you said, Guerin's going to need some XP. You're going to have to figure out, has not found those sirens in Tamra, so really needs to figure out what they're going to do to get some levels here. But party competition.
Chat saving the day. Murasame from the hairdryers.
Someday, somehow, those will get used. Maybe. Galeswift getting their information. The darkness crystal awaits. And Guerin, again, we're seeing just a little flip-flop here. Guerin going to check out Dwarf Castle, maybe, or just checking the shop out.
Guerin and Galeswift both just prioritizing the same checks makes perfect sense. They are logical checks. Just doing them in different orders. Galeswift, however, does have the advantage of doing a few more trap chests, getting a little more XP for his character. Guerin, however, had that Fu, may make this Dwarf Castle a little quicker, a little easier.
There you go. No, yeah, these two. I mean, the seed so far has directed these runners pretty. It's almost been a funnel. I mean, there's only so many places you can go, so it's gonna be interesting how this shakes out.
If I remember correctly, the only checks remaining for our runners that we haven't seen yet are Keyless Tower, Fey March, and Alamoon.
They do have access to the sealed cave. Is that crazy enough to check out? I don't know if. Not sure if they're ready for it though.
With that food, they may feel comfortable enough to take on that sealed cave. It's a very, it's not a punchy spot, it's a high magic spot, and it's a very speedy spot. So if you have proper agility anchoring, then yeah, definitely could be on the table if either of our runners feel comfortable enough with a 1500, 1600 HP Fu. If that Fu happens to learn Nuke, it shouldn't be too difficult for either one of our runners.
Very true. Very true. And Guerin walking in, doing quad 9s on that Odin was just chef's kiss.
Thing of beauty.
Yeah. Should be through this demist as well with relative ease. Galeswift taking off to the lunar subterranean, or lunar terrain, excuse me.
To the moon.
Now objectives, yeah, they're nice, but I like to save them for the hour mark. We'll just hold off to do objectives until much, much later. It's not like they're important.
No, but actually, yes.
Oh,
Can't
right.
win without doing your objective, I'm afraid. And, well, they do have one saying in this tournament, which is do your objectives. A lot of objectives will chain into other objectives.
On Guerin's side, with Rosa getting that Berserk, that's going to be helpful for right now. If you can't afford the Bacchus wines, you still also have that Fu. So if you wanted to use that Fu for a little more damage dealing and let Rosa do the getting Kane drunk act, that would be the way to do it.
So Galeswift has said, I've had enough of 2 Canes. 1 is more than enough. Ditches Cane number 2 for Fu number 1. And we'll see if Galeswift heads over to that shop over here on the moon with a naming wave and finds his Bacchus wine for sale.
There you go. Yeah, unfortunately, NPC's in the way. Guerin says, another day.
But yeah, at this point, I believe we are at key item check parity between our 2 racers. Everyone has checked everything else. Guerin continuing to issue the sealed cave, continuing to avoid the king at the town of monsters, because that was a pretty nasty fade march with the DKC and Magus sisters. Wants to do keyless tower instead.
Yeah, not mad at it. Nice little chunk of XP at the end of this. Yeah, and a relatively, well, depending on who's up there, I guess, shouldn't be a problem. Has a possibility of also taking maybe some trap chests on the way up here. A good opportunity to get some XP, but opting out for now. That might change once they see what's at the top, though.
Lower Babel here, one of the lowest, if not the lowest chance of getting, generally tier 8, tier 7 items on T Wildish here on this particular flag set. I believe 10% only for a tier 8 item. So generally it's not something we see often, but doesn't mean you can just spike, a 3% adamant armor from one of these trap chests.
Gotta be somewhere, right? the checks down in Eblin Castle didn't really turn out too well. Oh no, we still have the trap chests in the Geblin Castle, don't we?
We do. We found them. We just didn't clear them out just yet. So there could be an adamant waiting. The closest we found to a tier 8 has been that crystal sword that Galeswift found over in the Sylph Cave.
Getting some information here. The eventual launch the Falcon objective is going to have to get through a Bahamut there in the Ruby spot. But for right now, Guerin, looking at this Leviathan, very doable. You have the Rosa, you have the ability to heal your party up and get through those waves. Those ices shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then, like you said, that Fu really should be able to put on some damage. I believe Leviathan weak to lightning.
That is correct, and this is a relatively low magic spot as well, so shouldn't be too much of a challenge for Guerin. Just hopefully it pays out. Yeah, we have lit 3 on Fu, we have lit 2 over on Palom. This will be a relatively quick endeavor.
There we go. And with a cane, swing away.
And one thing that Galeswift noticed over in Cave Value, saw CPU a very doable fight, but a very long fight without significant offense. So saying, no, not right now. I'm going to go do my objectives. Off to Sealed Cave I go.
I like it. No, it is an objective, so no save outside. They have the levels to take it on, I believe, head on without trouble. So yeah, going right in. Very bold. These 2 runners, man, like you said, this is a lot's on the line for these 2, and it shows that they're very just how matched up they've been so far. It's just been really interesting to see. Very close.
Absolutely, both these runners playing for their tournament lives right now. Galeswift with a win goes to 3-2 again, 3rd place secured in the Karate Gi group, and has a date with a Stone Dingling next week for a play-in to the brackets. Guerin, however, has to win their next 2 in order to reach that same status. But as you mentioned, Galeswift did not save on the outside of Luca Cave. That's an interesting bold play. There could still be something very nasty down here, say like a surprise wyvern or anything like that. And without proper agility, anchoring could be very difficult to get through.
Guerin through the top of tower. I'm not seeing anything else lit up. What's going on here? Where are the key items?
the moon. It looks like everything's on the moon.
As much as we wanted to avoid it, looking at these objectives, we wanted to avoid it. Galeswift, taking a peek at the. Oof, you've got to be kidding me. This Earth is haunted from its core all the way to its to the crust.
Actually, it turned out we did get a key item from the top of the tower, a pan, which unlocks 2 more key item checks behind the Silk Pit Cave Bonk and Sheila too. So it's not completely haunted. But speaking of not completely haunted, here is the sealed cave with a doctor luggage.
Not what you want to see. Just going to be a long, long fight. Panda, thank you for keeping me honest with that pan. That's going to be a nice 2 key item check. Run down, hit Yang on the head, go talk to his wife, give it back to her.
So this Dr. Luge, not too difficult to fight for Galeswift. This fight, not very punchy. Really, the only part that Galeswift needs to worry about is that second part of the Dr. Luggage fight. This is a very fast spot. Could get enough beams off or enough lasers off, laser being a percentage-based attack based off Dr. Luge's base HP. Could one-shot any one of these characters here if Dr. Galeswift is not fast enough.
Getting it off in time, not having to see the second or the third form, or middle form, I should say. Just gonna have to fight with them here. Man, my eyes go to the wrong screen every single time. I am so sorry. I believe that was a Baron key with the pan check.
That's correct. This world is beginning to open up a little more for Guerin.
There we go. Baron key, we do know. Oh no, we don't, do we? Who gave us our first key item? I believe it was a Sparkle, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, and the only Sparkle we've seen thus far, well, only 2, are Ogopogo and D-Lunars over at the package check. So that could still be a surprise wyvern.
Not looking forward to that. And Galeswift through. And we finally have an objective complete. Not bad at all. We'll see how quickly they all they all fall back into line here.
So warping on out of the sealed cave. Good on Galeswift for getting his first objective done, objective number 7. Guerin, meanwhile, finished up with Sheila 2.
Nice.
And is heading on over, I assume, to Baron to check out that key.
No, I believe they received the pink tail. Oh, yeah, you're right. The Baron, okay. They do have an adamant armor on the table, but... Okay. Baron it is.
Adamant armor in waiting once we find that hook. Unfortunately, no hook just yet.
I see them underground and I'm thinking, yeah. And again, the objective. Hey, you guys got to keep me in line. I appreciate it.
Guerin picked up a rune axe. Galeswift in the meantime saying, I still want to avoid that Fey March. It is scary. Let's go do Kayla's Tower. So we'll be on Guerin's heels pretty soon. Finding eventually that fight at that Leviathan fight at the top of tower.
Yes. And gain some levels there with that luggage fight, so also should not be a problem. Guerin making their way through to get to Baron 1. Again, yeah, no required objectives there, no Odin Throne, but a chance at 2 different key items.
And a chance at a gated character check. Now we know where our 2 gated characters are. We have one of them already in both of our parties, that Fu, and we know Cecil's behind the Sand Ruby. Yep. So who do you actually want to see here? We've
already seen a dupe with Gain, so it's got to be a Yang, an Edge, maybe?
Yeah, I think Edge would be best case scenario for our runners this evening. But
absolutely,
they could also be happy with the mage party they're generally forming right now.
It seems
I'm not sure
like
they would want to. They may not want to pivot to Berserkers.
Very true. Very true. But you still have the whole moon, basically, to check it's looking like. So you have the opportunity to gain those levels and turn those hitters into something. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They both have seemed to been given the mage seed from Karma.
Sometimes you just have to play with what the seed gives you. And this seed has given you a surprise wyvern.
Come on. This is like 3 for 3, buddy. Like, what are you doing?
Fortunately for Guerin, that cane is fast enough, gets one Star Veil off. The only Star Veil that Guerin has, I believe.
Wow. And for good measure, here's an arrow to the face. Oof. That's gonna be unfortunate if they can get through this fight without needing it. Oh no, never mind.
Down goes Wyvern. Only King gets XP, but that is fine. It is way better than taking a reset.
Yeah. At this point, I think you push on through just to the to clear out, finish Baron, and then you come back in before doing the Odin spot. I can't imagine anybody going back out, saving, and trying to take on this Odin spot. Although it's a fun route, just not feasible, I believe, in this current situation.
And Guerin showing a lot of game knowledge and a very good memory. Having dropped their battle speed to 6 prior to entering that fight allowed them to very easily get that Star Veil off, remembering that, hey, there was a Sparkle. There's still a Wyvern outstanding. I'm going to be safe here.
Very true. He might have heard you say it. And it was just like, well, Rybon's been right so far with all his guesses. Pretty free fight here. You either wait for it or you don't. I think you have enough power to really get through the King and Queen Evelyn without having to hear them gain consciousness and talk your ear off.
I agree. This spot has about 4,000 HP split across 2, so a quick Quake should knock out both of them.
Yep, and there they go. And Baron has been liberated.
Yep, don't tell Edge we murdered his parents.
Who's behind door number 1? Edward. I don't see this going well for Edward. Read the room.
There's one use case for Edward here that DKC is required down in the Fey March. Edward can be fast enough, especially if you curse somebody down to 1 agility, to get a hide off before that first Dark Wave comes out. But Guerin saying, I don't need that.
Touche. Orbs and the harp helping us out by stopping those walls. Galeswift heading back down. Oh no, heading down. I'm sorry, heading down for the first time with the pan in hand now. So, like you said, shortly behind Guerin. Guerin picking up that sand ruby. That's huge at this moment because again, they are aware of, or they have the knowledge that in that bed is a Cecil. I don't believe Galeswift did that check.
That's correct. Galeswift is ignorant of the Cecil in bed. Guerin is in the know and off to pick up that Cecil right now. He's going to have the guy and probably pivoting to some kind of Berserker strat, depending on whether Guerin wants to drop the Porum, or not the Porum, the Palom, or drop the King.
As you said, yeah, this would be the point to make that turn if you're going to go Berserker, considering you have to do quite a bit of objective checks still. And there goes Palom.
I like this play. I think Berserker is the right play on this particular flag set. Guerin, however, did not pick up that Crystal Sword. Only Galeswift did. So it'd be interesting to see if Guerin goes Shiny Sword hunting. With that food, could easily drop a few trap chests either in Sylph Cave or in Castle Eblin to try to find something relatively nicer than that Light Sword that we currently have.
Yeah, definitely. That Light Sword's just going to have to do for now. Yeah, let's see where they take this. If they do some finish working on this overworld before tackling the moon. Still has a possibility. Well, still has to go down and do the sealed cave. And I think that's about it, really. Oh, or no, like you said, the Fey March. Man, curious how that's going to shake out too.
Yeah, that Fey March is looming large. Now, when we take it, who knows? It looks like we'll be taking Odin Throne first on Guerin's side, whereas Galeswift is going to be taking on that Liberation of Baron. A big question is, will Galeswift turn in that Sand Ruby, not knowing who's waiting in bed, or will he forget about it and just be happy with his party?
Yeah.
Also, a big question is, who's down here on this Odin Throne? This is a quite punchy spot, quite fast spot.
I was trying to think, who would really... We've seen some rough ones already, which has been grateful. You know, the Mom Bombs are gone, the Golbezes are gone, but yeah, who down here could really do some damage to this party right now?
Alt Gauntlet, is that you?
Rybon, if you've... Oh, man. Whew,
I mean,
mini heart attack.
I got the icon right at least. Just Mylon and friends. And Guerin, again, showing good game knowledge, has that Cecil, level 1, not going to contribute really anything in this fight, curses him up, and that Cecil is a very good anchor right now.
You know, these guys, these Mylon guys are going to take a while to get into the queue, it's looking like. So definitely, yeah, a lot of opportunity to get rid of them. Why not just get rid of them?
Also, Funnel Cakes in chat pointing out something very important as well. We do have that required Forge objective. Guerin may not go Shiny Sword hunting, instead depending on the eventual Excalibur that we will receive by completing that objective.
True. But still, we haven't found too much in the way of equipment here. It's been pretty light. No big names. Oof. Galeswift able to get that off just in time. But can they get... Oh yeah, they still have plenty of time to deal the rest of the damage out and then walk on in.
Oh,
and go
maybe
talk
not.
To King. I take it all back. Oof, but surviving.
Food taking it to the face like a champ.
Yeah, good job, buddy. Guerin getting through this Mylon fight, not too bad. Dealing out decent damage, and these lit ones aren't doing enough to really make me worried. Ooh, let's throw a few nukes. Oh, there we go. Never mind.
Mylon always complaining about his body, but he can just walk off elsewhere, and we will get our key item down here.
Yeah, he heard there was a nuke coming up, and he was like, no, I quit. Oh, and the Bahamut summon. Useful. Sometimes.
The useful
But
item
not-
if you have Iridia, but not right now.
Not at all. That Bahamut will not come into play. Sells for a pretty penny, though. A little more loot. Don't blame him. Like I say, Guerin, we just haven't seen anything really too impressive. Just enough to kind of squeak by here and there. That looming moon, much like in Majora's Mask, is drawing ever and ever closer.
So Guerin still has a perfectly serviceable party. That light sword Cecil, I believe we have a defense sword on the cane. It's not their best weapons, but it's very serviceable.
Right.
Could just go through this, does not need to find a shiny sword if they do not want to.
Looking like Guerin heading to the sealed cave to clear that objective out. Will gain their golden apple, I believe, as well as the check mark for the objective.
That's correct. So again, very evenly matched between these two players. Guerin up 1 check, which is the Odin Throne check, as well as turning in the Sand Ruby and getting through that cutscene. Galeswift, on the other hand, through the sealed cave already. So we do have a lot of parity between our runners. It depends on who's going to get down to that Fame March first and show us what's down there.
Yeah, we gotta wait and see who really takes off in a lead here. I mean, it's hard to say between the two of them. They're just back and forth. So really gonna come down to it in the end here. Different party composition too. That's I do like the variance there with Guerin taking that Rosa, again getting access to that Cecil or knowledge of that Cecil with that move with the package. So.
Yep, for those in chat who may be wondering, where did that Rosa come from? She was behind the package, and Guerin decided to sit through the cutscene. Galeswift did not. So we're seeing something interesting here. Galeswift got that Sand Ruby, not checking it immediately, does not know it's Cecil, a vessel for that crystal sword that he's been lugging around. By checking this Odin Throne, may just forget about the Sand Ruby entirely.
Guerin heading down to talk to Dr. Luggage. Got some levels on that Cecil, if I'm not mistaken, so should be able to zerk him and just try and slice through with, and then Fu with the nuke, maybe here and there. I don't see this being a problem for Guerin.
I agree. I think that Fu is cursed, being in the center slot, so down to 5 agility if that's the case. And so Fu is fantastic in the sense that he comes, with a set agility of 20. 20 is too fast to anchor at a lot of locations if you want to go for a slow anchor, but with that curse ring, very doable. Guerin, however, taking a reset.
Uh-oh. Maybe just slight little brain fart there and not realizing that this was an objective. Oh no.
Mm.
Well, eventually we'll come back to that tracker, I'm sure, and realize that no, that is going to have to be required. But for now, heading off to the Feymarch.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate play for Guerin in this situation. It can, with so many objectives, 7 to track, it can sometimes be easy to forget which one you actually need to do. As you mentioned, we'll be down to that Luca Cave again eventually, but that's a bit of a time loss having to make that trip down there a second time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It seemed like I think I saw Guerin in the tracker menu earlier, so possibly he's not utilizing a second tracker. And just, yeah, unfortunate, but I'm sure we'll be made up. Just, yeah, you don't want to see the time sinks. Galeswift getting their Bahamut, happy as punch. Oh, wait, no, they're not happy. They're leaving.
So thrilled that he gets to reset out. Now,
Yeah.
does he go check that Sand Ruby? Looks like he will, and
There
we'll
we go.
have a Crystal Sword Cecil online before Guerin does.
That
That's
is
a
gonna
big
be,
advantage for Galeswift.
that could be the difference here, yeah. That reset, and then now this. Yeah, Galeswift is going to be off to an a very impressive lead. I believe that
Very
Crystal,
happy.
yeah, for sure. This seed now should be pain-free. That Crystal Sword, I believe, was one of the Sylph Trap chests.
It was, I believe, from a 6 Ghost chest that Galeswift was doing with a RA1 power, showing an alternative grind and an alternative way to obtain high-tier loot that we don't often see in this flag set.
Yeah, interesting play. Making it very, it's been a great match so far. But can we take a moment real quick and just thank Karma for rolling this beauty of a seed, as well as handling all the behind the scenes work, making this all possible. And then on the tracking, we're looking at the Bardic Panda, doing fantastic, keeping us straight, keeping us in line. And I can't thank you enough, Rybon, for my first time being in comms to be matched up with the likes of you, man. This has been a joy so far.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine, Dumbward. You've been doing fantastic. So, over on Guerin's side, equip that Rune Axe over to Kane, taking on the 3 Magus Sisters. Galeswift, however, saying, I want to do the moon, so off to the moon he goes.
There we go. And I imagine Galeswift is going to probably stay here for quite a bit to try and stack up. I mean, we're missing a hook, we're missing some forage items, missing quite a bit of stuff here. A tower key.
Yep, Galeswift choosing to fade pretty much all of Feymarch, choosing to fade one of the objectives, the king at Feymarch, and I understand completely. It's not going anywhere. You know it's a relatively challenging spot. Let's just wait until we have a little more power, and that power is probably going to be waiting on the moon from all the XP we're getting from full clearing it, most likely. We have a lot of KMs to go, and they're probably up there.
Very true. Has the opportunity to dive down real quick, has a couple sirens, maybe take a small little grind just to really pack the power on. This being one of them here, the hair dryers as we saw on Guerin's side. But yeah, gonna spend some time on the moon, putting in some work and getting real strong. That Rune Axe. Go ahead.
Galeswift rewarded now here with a ton of levels on Cecil, which is probably what he was looking for primarily, but also a Murakami, not very useful in this situation. And yeah, you mentioned Guerin the Rune Axe doing real damage, finding a legend sword, which is required.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So both the Feymarch spots are needed to complete this seed. We'll see if Guerin decides to try at the DKC, but at this point, I don't know. Well, it hasn't exited out though, so it's gonna probably attempt it.
I think perfectly doable with that Fu you have there. Lower the battle speed as long as Fu can get a Cure 4 off or 2. That Kane can definitely survive at least one Dark Wave, can throw a Cure 2 or a Cure 3 on Fu. Fu can Cure 4 himself on the following turn, and you're through the fight. Sure, only Fu probably gets XP, but that's perfectly fine. This is an objective, and I do not want to triple dip Feymarch if I can avoid it.
Yeah, you're not lying, especially for what we received as the freebie. I mean, yeah, stop coming down here if you can. Get it all done in one shot. Galeswift heading to the bottom of the moon, going to work their way from the bottom up, looking like having taken advantage of that ribbon room first, possibly to gain access to 2 key items. Really looking to hope to pull something that's really going to open up this seed, because given what they've got, they've pretty much run out of options here.
So guerin unfortunately taking a wipe here in the DKC. Probably needs to put that foo into slot number 3 and put the cane into slot number 2 to make this work.
Gotcha. Doing some, yeah, taking a look, see what they got. Boosting up the MP, sure. Yeah, I didn't see the battle speed. Was battle speed adjusted, or they're just going at it? Kind of want to get it done.
It was battle speed 6.
Yeah, give you plenty of time to get some cures in. Round 2 for guerin. We wish them the best of luck. Like you said, it'd be nice to see them just not have to worry about this anymore. But unfortunately, gonna have to come back underground for not only that tower of the super cannon room later on, but that Luka check, or that sealed cave.
That cane surviving with 11 HP, gets an elixir off. As long as he gets his turn up relatively quickly, and he does, should be through this fight. Well done by guerin.
Yeah. 11 HP, man. We've had some close calls here. In the ribbon room, we are looking at a Mylon Z. Now, if I remember correctly, there's a Crystal Sword Cecil that's just itching to put it to good use.
I think you'll be seeing lots of quad 9s coming out of that Crystal Sword Cecil right here.
Oh, this is going to hurt. I almost don't want to watch. I kind of want to watch.
Avert your eye. There's about to be war crimes against Mylon Z.
Guerin through that DKC and rewarded with not only an objective, but the hook. Very nice.
So that brings the pink tail online. That brings us an adamant armor on guerin's side. And guerin's about to have a very powerful, very durable melee, most likely Cecil, that could even up this power advantage that Galeswift currently has from that Crystal Sword.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, the way these two runners have been doing this, it's just, yeah. Galeswift in the ribbon room, collecting a spoon and the tower key. Now, that's fantastic. You hope to just gain access to the rest of the key items so you can get out of this moon as quickly as possible and just finish up what you need in the underworld.
But considering that Feymarch had not 1 but 2 required key items, Galeswift is not going to find everything he needs up here, and as a result will probably full clear the moon.
Yes. Yes, I think, as we stated, Galeswift right now ahead just because, or not just because, but ahead in time, just due to guerin making that trip down the sealed cave, having to reset out, or not having to, resetting out, unfortunately, and having to make that trip again. We're at quite a bit of a difference in time here, but guerin quickly making their run to catch up, especially with the adamant armor.
Yeah, guerin definitely having a bit of fortunate pulls from Feymarch could lead to shortening this lead a bit, but indeed that reset out of sealed cave could be their downfall. It remains to be seen though, and it's certainly possible that we could still get a very close race, or guerin taking the lead if they happen to find the right key items very quickly. Now, one other thing that this hook unlocks, other than turning this pink tail for an adamant armor, is Evelyn. I don't believe guerin will be checking the character, probably very happy with their party, but could check the shop for maybe Hourglass Tooth or any other outstanding J items that could make that moon a little easier.
True, very true. But do they launch the Falcon now though, or do they wait until the end? You're already on the Earth. You might as well go through the whole hook route.
As a possible choice that guerin may be making here, I would recommend against it if it were me, just because that hook route is only going to get faster the longer you wait to actually do it. It does reward a key item, so normally it's a common trope to leave it as your last check. And it seems like guerin may be doing just that, fading, unfortunately, only the sealed cave here on Earth, heading up to meet Galeswift over on the moon, where Galeswift is currently taking care of a Valvalis.
Very nice. Having having the hitters here is working out perfect for that Valvalis. You definitely you don't want to run into a Valvalis with an all mage party like we had earlier. She can get pretty tricky, but Galeswift threw it without much issue and rewarded with not much.
Glass hat is nice when you don't have an adamant like Galeswift doesn't. Guerin won't be as entertained by that glass hat, I'm sure. But yeah, Guerin will, of course, likely folklore this moon as well. It depends on whether or not there are any key items that they need that would be locked behind one of the outstanding chaining key items that we still have, which I believe are the tower key, which is required, the twin harp, and the earth crystal.
Yeah, absolutely. Or possibly the rat tail. Yeah. Guess we'll head down to the spot.
What key items do we still need? We still need an adamant. We still need a rat tail, a tower key, which we have found, and an earth crystal. So we know the tower key's up here, and Guerin will find it over in the ribbon room. We're still outstanding 3 key items, which all could be up here.
Very true. And we see a repeat of Mylon Z, but brought some friends this time. Really, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson?
This is a very dangerous spot, just because the magic is so high. If we don't get through this Rubicon spot quickly enough, those Fire 2, those Fire 3s will make Galeswift's day very, very difficult.
Has the levels though, so taking them not too bad. But like you said, yeah, that Fire 3 is going to hurt unless this nuke. Well, transform is nice.
Indeed, and Galeswift is likely through this fight, will be rewarded with his XP, and he has 10 key items now. This would be a nice chunk of about 120,000 XP for all of his party.
There we go. Guerin's splitting off from the path most taken, deciding to take on the crystal sword first, and why not?
Yeah, I believe this rowdy is called the Demerine Gambit. So not something we see often. You have to head up to the crystal sword altar first. A low percentage chance, but could pay off. However, speaking of paying off, that is a rat tail behind that Masamune altar. That is 2 required key items here on the moon so far.
It's just going to be unfortunate, Galeswift. It's going to end up going through the rest of this moon before they get the opportunity to go back down underground and handle those 2 Fey March bosses and get their hook as well as the other objective. But still, we'll get to there eventually. Crystal Sword Altar, not looking too bad here. Water Hag, freest of free. Just got to get those swings in as quickly as possible.
Now, if this Crystal Sword Altar had the adamant, then we know the bottom of the moon has everything that we need in order to enter Go mode, at least for Guerin, which means Guerin will likely fade the top of the moon, will likely fade key value. So this is a pretty pivotal moment right here.
True. Odds are good. We haven't seen a lot. And you've talked a lot into existence. Oh no. Everybody's wrong sometime, Rybon.
I tried. And Max Plus in chat keep me honest. There's also still an Earth Crystal outstanding.
Very true. Which possibly behind that tower key or that rat tail, but we're gonna have to wait a while until we find out. Cave Bahamut, I think again was the orbs, so still no idea what's behind that.
Yes, and Galeswift will have a much easier time with those orbs than Guerin did, or would, just due to the power of that crystal sword that he currently has on that Cecil versus the light sword that Guerin has on his Cecil.
You said it was going to make a bit of difference here, and yeah, it's definitely showing up. That adamant on Guerin's side, helpful, but yeah, just not enough to really bring it home for Cecil there. But Guerin going to be stuck with the same boat, full clear in the moon, gaining some levels, so we'll see how it shapes out for him.
Yeah, the adamant is a huge advantage, but it tends to be a larger advantage earlier rather than later, where the crystal sword is a gigantic advantage throughout the entire seed. Defense becomes less and less important the more and more levels you obtain. So it was very nice to find that adamant around the 1 hour 10 mark, but it's really much more advantageous to find around like the 30-minute mark. I'd be very interested to know if there was an Adamant waiting in Castle Eblin that both of our runners faded.
Which may be left to mystery the way this is shaping up. I mean, I can't imagine too much more looting going on. Both members just dealing with what they've been given, and like you said, levels will just make a lot of the difference here.
We're getting our last LST check over here at the Murasame altar from Galeswift. Not a whole lot left that could be really nasty, except for maybe an outstanding alt gauntlet. Not here though. We are getting 2 bearing guards, and I believe we have some coffins for them.
There we go. Not long for this world. Step right in, gentlemen.
Galeswift doesn't want to take any chances here, doesn't want to go for a life glitch on these bearing guards. Will be happy with his 110,000 XP from completing this fight, rather than about the 170, 180 he could get otherwise. But will he be happy with the key item check?
That is the question. Ooh.
The answer is no, but Guerin will be. Guerin will be very happy to find the Excalibur eventually.
Absolutely. Sooner rather than later, considering, yeah, they'll eventually also have to forge. It'll give them a little boost, sure, but Galeswift running out of options now on the moon. Just going to have to go do the Cave Bahamut, if I'm not mistaken. No, going back home. Maybe never mind. So for now, we don't know what's behind orbs.
That is a very interesting play. So if you are going to fade anything on the moon, cave value usually is it, because it's very easily accessed. All you have to do is hop back on the whale. You don't have to climb down the LST or anything like that. But knowing that there are orbs there, Galeswift says, I'm just going to go do my objectives instead. We'll be rewarded with 2 key items that he needs in order to complete the seed. But if he decides to continue to fade cave value, if there is value behind that particular location, then Guerin takes it. This could be a huge swing in momentum for Guerin.
Absolutely. That's only been the difference between these two runners. It seems like it's just been either, I wouldn't call it a misstep, but just one slight divergence in routing, and yeah, this could still go either way. It's looking like Guerin has a great potential to even out the score here with Galeswift. And again, like you said, the importance of this match is it cannot be said.
Yep, both players really can't leave anything left on the table, anything left on the field for this one, because it is potentially win or go home for either one of them.
Yeah. See Galeswift making their way up the top. We are greeted with the dolls. Are they trained on super candid technology? I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're certified to actually use this. That's probably why it's about to explode, I'm afraid. I'm not sure if anybody's actually certified on how to use this thing.
It seems to always end in failure for anybody. You're right.
This is why you can trust artificial intelligence to take care of your super cannons.
You've been saying it for years, Rybon, and yeah, you're right. Now, Galeswift has already done the top of tower. That was met with very little fanfare. Or no, that was the pan. So just able to walk this out, get their objective. Where they go from here, hopefully, I'm assuming Fey March, considering the routing. Might as well, like you said, knock out your objectives, that king of the, that DKC looming. And while you're down there, let's take care of those Magus sisters and, as you said, get that hook.
Indeed. I am certain Galeswift will probably head down to Fey March, as you mentioned. It makes perfect sense with the routing. The only potential thing that could draw him away is maybe an Earth Crystal here coming from the Tower Key. As a result, that could draw him away, chasing that objective and continuing to fade the DKC, maybe feeling like he doesn't have enough power. He certainly does by this point, based on the amount of HP that all of his characters have gained from those moon levels, but he faded Fey March this long. He may want to continue doing so.
Yeah. And there's
the Adamant, though.
Going to be able to, if they full clear the Fey March, going to be able to knock out 2 more objectives here while they're underground. So that's fantastic. But it's looking more and more like you're going to have to go back up and get that CPU here. I don't see what else they can do with what they have.
I agree. We have pretty much run out of potential checks. It has to be something, some kind of gating key item, either an earth crystal, a rat tail. Well, not the rat tail. Actually, have we turned
Oh,
in the
the
rat
rat
tail
tail.
yet? No.
That's right. About to get that hook. Check that rat tail. You're absolutely right.
That rat tail could have our earth crystal and our go mode.
Interesting. CPU, maybe.
If you're Guerin at this point, and you don't know because of course you don't know what your opponent is doing, but it'd be advantageous if that CPU had something that chained to the earth crystal and you took it, because Galeswift faded it. If it is behind that red tail, then I'd have to concede that Galeswift has a relatively large advantage in this situation.
Sure. And again, we still have that hook route too in play. So once that hook route does, or that hook is obtained by Galeswift, curious how they'll factor that in. As you said, maybe save it for the end, just to knowing, considering both runners know that they're going to be facing at least a Bahamut in spot 2. I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
Oh, well, Guerin obtained their rat tail. Will likely head up to the top of the moon now. Do Murisame be very happy to get that X-Cal. But what was on your mind?
I was just trying to think of like what, just some of the baddies. Like we've gotten a lot of the baddies out of the way. It seems like a lot of the real powerful bosses, the Wyverns, the Golbezes, the Valvalises. Yeah, it seems like I'm trying to think of what really poses a threat now for these runners moving forward.
At this point, not a whole lot, because most of the punchy spots, most of the dangerous spots have been accounted for as well. There's
Yeah.
still some bosses you don't normally want to find. A Baigen in a punchy spot, for example, a CP, or not a CPU, but an alt gauntlet just about anywhere. But at this
True.
point, they'd be more annoyances than anything else.
Luckily, this seed not pushing us to go to the giant, to where I'm hoping Karma stashed all the real nasty stuff.
It very well could be, or they could just be waiting over in the Waterfall Cave or in the Mist Dragon Cave and never to be seen.
I believe this is the last altar that Garen needs before heading down to possibly Bahamut and or returning home.
That's correct, and I believe Giran also came equipped with coffins here. Oh, nope, it had a mute bell instead. This will be a bit of a shorter or longer fight. Maybe going for the potential stone from Fu, or maybe just wanting to Zerg up and maybe try to get a life glitch off for a little more levels on his party.
Yeah, why not? Galeswift finishing up their Fey March. Received the hook and the objective from DKC. Or no, I'm sorry. I apologize, has not done that yet.
Center slot Fu is letting us down yet again. No stone on the first attempt. Looks like we'll be parrying around, attempting again. Come on, Fu, you can do it. You're no center slot Tella, but
I was gonna say we all know that Tella would have knocked it out of the park there.
yeah, a bit unfortunate. Yeah. Not having Coffin in the situation will make this fight quite a bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. That rune axe will do a little bit more damage, but yeah, no, this is just another little bit of a time sink here for Garen. A chance for Galeswift to again kind of just extend their difference.
Third time's the charm.
There we go.
And yes, to answer your question in chat, I do believe that Fu does have a curse ring on, so that will lower his accuracy a bit.
There we have the forge, the full forge for Galeswift. Garen's not going to be too far behind, I believe, to find that adamant rock.
But yeah, again, the last remaining question, whether or not Galeswift has a relatively large lead in this situation, is there anything at all behind that cave value?
Yeah.
And will Garen take it?
It's exciting. I'm telling you, these matches. And here we go. Meanwhile, Galeswift off, going to get the forge. Again, has the red tail and the pink tail turn in afforded to them, as well as, if they so desire, knocking out that launch the Falcon objective. But slowly but surely, we're starting to get these objectives knockouts. So
Yep, this seed is a problem that is slowly but surely solving itself. And
Here we
that
go.
is now 4 objectives done for Galeswift to Guerin's 1.
Checking out the shop. Usually something good there. Glass hats are nice, but not really much for what this party has. And plus, at this point, you're not really looking for too much. Maybe some Zeus gauntlets, a Stardust rod, but I don't see anything really making too much of a difference.
Couple of Zeus gauntlets, maybe a power shirt would have been nice. Really, the only thing
Yeah.
there that could have been of use was apples if you wanted to bump Rosa up on HP, but no real need. Galeswift gained a ton of levels from full clearing that moon. So nothing really that can really threaten him at the moment. No need to get Rosa to 3000 HP unless you're just going for style points.
Heading immediately to get those tails, get their adamant, as well as this could be the make or break it part right here. We see one of these things has to lead somewhere.
Now, worst case for Galeswift, this is a twin harp. But it's an earth crystal.
It's the earth crystal. There we go.
So Galeswift in go mode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Heading, I would assume, head right to Zot from here. I don't think it maybe it doesn't make a difference which way they take this, but unfortunately, no twin harp music tonight.
That's unfortunate. Looks like heading over to at least drop off the hovercraft. Could really do this in any order.
Yeah.
But choosing to do Zot first, I like this primarily because if you do Zot first, you'll get the not the Falcon, but you'll get the Enterprise, our main airship, sitting out in front of Baron after you complete Zot. Otherwise, if you do the hook route first and you park the Falcon in front of Troya, that Falcon will stay there. And you'll have to do the Walk of Shame or maybe Swagbo on back up in order to use that path, which we don't have yet, by the way, to use the path store. So I'm sure Galeswift is hoping for a pass here, and that's actually another potential out, or at least a potential advantage Guerin can get from K value here. There could be a pass behind the CPU, then that would shave about 2.5 minutes for Guerin's side getting down to the room.
Very true. Yeah. So this is looking like it's going to be beneficial, unless, like you said, this ends up being the twin harp at CPU. That could throw a monkey wrench in the works as well.
That definitely could, but I think Guerin would at least turn in the rat tail prior to attempting that twin harp. So unfortunately, at least for chat, I don't believe we'll be getting music tonight.
Unfortunately, and we also didn't get an opportunity at Antline on the Moon. This seed is just, I don't know. I just don't know.
He shot for the moon and only got halfway up the tower. It's too bad. Try again next time, Antline.
And just as you predicted, Guerin obtaining the pass behind CPU, so it's going to help them out a little bit here, but they still have to go back down that sealed cave, and it still has so much ahead of them before they maybe even remember to do that. Man, this is going to come down to it.
It's going to be close, but yeah, I'm afraid that sealed cave fade or sealed cave reset early on that Guerin did may cost him this race. It remains to be seen.
Yeah.
That Z fight's still not completely free on Galeswift's side. Should be relatively easy on the levels, but anything can happen during that fight, and a wipe will put Guerin right back into this.
Very true. I don't believe this Porum or this Yang make the journey to Z. They can hang out in the Room of Wishes.
Yep, I hear they have a nice little snack bar.
Yeah, Edward's there playing some music. It's nice. And Guerin obtaining their Earth Crystal.
So Guerin also in go mode now. All comes down to who can move quicker. And Galeswift has a couple steps on Guerin at the moment.
Plague at Zatu. With these levels, piece of cake.
Indeed, nothing too threatening up here, and I can't really think of anything that would remain threatening. We only have a few boss spots left to do.
Yeah.
Really, just we have that Bahamut at the Rubicon spot, and the King Queen Emblem spot is the only boss check remaining outstanding.
Fingers crossed for that gauntlet at King and Queen.
Yeah, that's probably the slowest boss remaining. So by all means, I'm here to see it.
Or second theory, the Twin Heart music was just going to be so amazing that the gauntlet was going to be there, so we could just listen to it for hours on end.
Yeah, it could be Infinite Stare. There could be Poison Stare.
Oof.
We'll just never know. One of those, they're the Twin Harp, of course. Only place it could be.
Yep.
So Galeswift is going to end up 27 out of 28 in this seed, meaning that he has done 27 of the 28 key item checks. No, actually 26 because he did not do the path. There is an unlikely possibility that Galeswift decides to check Twin Harp because he may want that path. I don't think he'll do that, but it may be something going through his mind. I don't think he'll save enough time by actually doing the Twin Harp cutscene in order to make up by getting the path.
And as you stated, I do believe Galeswift is ready for this Z fight, especially once they go through this, gain just a couple more levels here and there. Yeah, nobody really poses a threat, but like you said, a wipe could really set them back, and guerin needs to make up some time here. So.
It looks like we may have a little freeze over on guerin's side, but I'm sure we're working on getting the backup in the near term. Meanwhile, Galeswift, we'll see. The character down here, a Sid. I don't think we're taking a Sid today.
No. That would leave... Who's on the Giant, then? It's got to be Edge.
I believe so. Edge is our only outstanding character.
Yeah.
Sure, both of our racers felt pretty happy finding an early Murasame out of that hairdryer chest, and unfortunately it's going to go unused this seed.
You hate to see it.
It's okay. Edge will be featured much more in the bracket flags once we lose that Cecil and that Fusoya from the character pool.
Yeah.
Speaking of bracket flags, those are coming up in just a couple of weeks after we get through our play-ins next week and a week off. Brackets begin in about 2.5 weeks from now. A lot of changes to that one. We have back row glitch off. We have 2 of the pivotal restricted characters off, which would be Cecil and Fusoya. You get far less money for selling with SL Quarter on. There's a lot of changes that our runners who do qualify for brackets will have to adjust to.
That Super Smith flag on, so that Forge no longer just an X-Cal, could be a plethora of DS weapons for any character.
Actually, for bracket flags, we do have something called Super Smith Alt, which is a new flag.
Oh.
Ultimately, it's not a DS ultimate weapon, but we do just get a random tier 7 item. So it could be a Moth Immune, it could be a Bahamut Summon, and it could be an Alt Gauntlet. Here, the King Queen Evelyn, we just cannot leave this flag without Bad Karma giving us an Alt Gauntlet. So thank you.
And no word on guerin's side yet if they've gotten back up.
But Galeswift will likely have 0 issue whatsoever. Looks like guerin is back with us and has completed the Tower of Zot, I would assume, from appearing right outside of Baron. We'll be heading down his Hilk route, or their Hilk route very shortly, and will be hot on Galeswift's heels, but still has a few things to do. Still needs to do that Super Cannon, still needs to complete the Sealed Cave, and still needs to forge, which they will get their Adamant from completing that Super Cannon.
Yeah, so not bad to launch the Falcon now for guerin, considering they have to end up underground either way.
Right, this is very intelligent routing from guerin's side.
Yeah. And yeah, as you said, Galeswift, well, for both runner, yeah, they'll make short work of this gauntlet, and Bahamut for that matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Galeswift has any Star Veils remaining. I know at least one of our runners seem to have run out, but won't be necessary. No. Only 25,000 HP at that particular location, and for the party that Galeswift currently has, and guerin both, 25,000 HP is nothing.
It goes quick. You've got a very old man throwing nuclear weapons. So a very close start, a very interesting start for both of these runners. Just a misstep on either side to really just made that difference. Both runners having to near full clear a seed. So I mean, this is just the group stages, and this is how close these matches are going to be. It's going to be really exciting when it gets to the bracket stages.
Absolutely. And this particular match, it was very even early on.
Yeah.
A big difference, of course, as we mentioned, is that misstep down in Sealed Cave and resetting out. But I think an even bigger difference between the two runners was Galeswift finding that crystal sword early on by doing Sylph Trap Chest, a very unorthodox move that we see on this flag set. And coming up big, getting through that moon, I believe, quite a bit quicker than Guerin did behind the power of that crystal sword.
Yeah, absolutely. Guerin about to find out what they have on the table for King and Queen spot. And like we said, on Galeswift's side, this Bahamut, unfortunately not able to count down.
Sadly, no one taught the Dragon God how to count.
No. Both runners with the curse ring, so the agility situation walking into Z is taken care of, buttoned up. Just two different anchors, but still. As you said, both runners with two Zerkers looking like walking into that Z fight later on.
Guerin's going to have the stronger party entering Z, having a Fu anchor and a Rosa as well. Is superior to having that Tella at this particular point of the seed, but having too much power is a thing. Sometimes you just need enough power, and that's certainly what Galeswift has.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, the Tella's not going to be doing much, unfortunately.
But here we go. Galeswift is launching this Falcon, has completed his 7th objective, will be rewarded with the crystal, and it's just one LST walk away from fighting Theronis.
Wonder if they remember that CPU spot. Not that they're going to tie it in, but just out of curiosity, I wonder if that's going to be itching in the back of their mind, thinking that's where the pass was.
Yep, definitely could be. Galeswift is thinking it's either behind CPU or it's behind that Twin Harp. And
Yes.
he's probably feeling pretty good about that fade because either of those spots takes about at least 2 minutes, if not longer. You actually didn't gain too much of an advantage from obtaining that pass. We have a little bit of a Mac Giant grind conversation in chat right now. That is one grind I have not seen on this flag set, and I wish I did. Mac Giants for life. I'm sure we'll see it at least once, however, during brackets.
Like something I'd like to see, yeah. Yeah, the grind options are going to change as well. Like you said, given that Tella, you will see a lot more of the D-Monies, the Mac Giants versus the Sirens. You're not going to have a lot of money on this flag set, given that everything is selling for a quarter, and the treasure, the looting, is going to be a lot stricter, I believe. So yeah, taking full advantage of a grind when it becomes available is going to make or break a seed, I think.
Yep, a lot of the traditional grinds just haven't been observed on the group stages, but yeah, as you mentioned, we just due to the lack of funding, due to the lack of T Wildish and only having T Pro and not having a Fu, not having a Cecil, it's going to drive a lot of runners, I believe, toward the more traditional grinds, early grind early, grind often strategy that we have seen in other tournaments.
Absolutely. Guerin getting through there, Bahamut, gonna fall down that pitfall, but still has some work to do on that underground. Just some light tidying up. I wonder if they're aware yet about the sealed cave misstep.
I wonder. We will see. I think if after completing the super cannon room, get that adamant. If they immediately forge and then check their tracker, in-game tracker, they will realize. Otherwise, they probably may have it in the back of their mind already.
Yeah.
Galeswift taking a safety save here
Not mad
and
at it.
lowering the battle speed to 3. Probably feels pretty confident about this, but is playing very safe. Doesn't want to lose any type of advantage that he may currently have. Can definitely respect it.
Sure.
Although I do respect a good swag walk too.
They've done the seed justice. I think they're ready to to wrap it up in as swift manner as possible. The least amount of hiccups. Making their way down. I wonder who they meet at the end of this tunnel here that they're traversing.
Oh, there may be a little someone called the Romus waiting for us at the bottom of the lunar subterrane here. And there's a little thing about this game. It's a randomizer. We can't move this boss, unfortunately. I've asked. I want him in that lion cave. We just can't do it. So instead, we decide to change the Romus up a little bit. And if you could describe that, Duppert.
Well, there we go. I was hoping to see a chance at some Z flags in chat to really indicate the most important question of the game to me, and that's whose butt are we going to kick this evening?
Along with all the other questions that come along with it, like, how is butt doing? Does it have a butt? Is it cute? These
Oh, for
questions
sure.
just keep on morphing.
As you stated, that Tella going to be able to throw the crystal here. Probably not going to do too much. Maybe get a cure off, but other than that, probably going to fall victim to Zeromus's Big Bang attack, if not a direct nuke. So that's going to be a little bit of a disadvantage for Galeswift, but other than that, should be a relatively smooth fight. Zerkers, you've got maybe some reflected nukes.
Yep, I believe we've seen a Star Veil queue up over on Fusoya, so we'll see a hybrid strategy here as they fight this cup of noodles.
Man, that would scare the bejesus out of me as a kid if that was my cup of noodle artwork.
A scary artwork, and that is a very, very large cup of noodles.
Yeah.
That could feed a small American town for at least 2 days.
Guerin having everything they need for the forge, just missing that last objective, which is going to be the Luca check, to complete the sealed cave. Otherwise, Galeswift, like you said, pretty much has this in the bag.
So is Free Enterprise sponsored by Cup of Noodle?
Oh, I'm sure. They're getting money in the back end. We just won't see any of it.
And Guerin has remembered now that sealed cave is an objective, heading on down to finish that up real quick.
There you go.
Meanwhile, Earth Big Bang is out. I believe it was nerfed.
Yes,
so
sir.
Minimal damage.
Yes, sir. And the way that the damage is coming out on Galeswift's side, this cup of noodle is near done.
These noodles are cooked. Probably a little too hot to eat too. But yeah, nukes coming out, 5,000 damage plus each. Cecil hitting for a nuke every time he swings that sword. Kane's helping.
Trying. He's there. He's witnessing. And yeah, how else are you going to deal with a cup of noodle? You got to nuke it. Once again, Guerin walking into the Dr. Luggish fight. Just annoying, but not going to be a problem.
Not even saving, feeling very confident about this.
Yeah. And has the ability to warp out too, so.
It will likely be in the Zeromus fight in the next few minutes, but unfortunately for Guerin and positive for Galeswift, Galeswift likely going to be done with this fight shortly unless there is some kind of extreme collapse. I'm not sure if this is nerfed or not. It was not, but a low roll. Outside of an immediate Meteo.
No,
well,
sir.
there won't be. Down goes the cup of noodles.
There it is. GG's Galeswift.
GG's to Galeswift winning this race and going to 3-2 in the Karate Gi group with an overall time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 13 seconds.
So looking like, yeah, gonna be having to take on that Stone Dingley, if I'm not mistaken, to see who comes out as the runner-up of the Karate group.
That's correct. And we are joined by Galeswift, our first place finisher tonight. Galeswift, how you feeling about that seed?
I'm feeling pretty good. I didn't hit any alt gauntlet issues in the moon this time around, even though I was expecting alt gauntlet at the Massa altar. But bad karma was pretty nice for us this time.
Yeah, he just wanted to make sure that you still found an alt gauntlet, and you sure did down there on that hook route. So, yeah, you are going up to 3-2. You have a date with Stone Dingley next week. How are you feeling about that?
I'm actually pretty excited. I think no matter how it goes, it'll be a pretty good match. I think I've learned a little bit since starting running these seeds, so I'm hoping that it'll be entertaining at least to rewatch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You two, you and Guerin put on a great performance, I have to say. I appreciated commentating on it. And as Rybon pointed out, what made a huge power shift in your favor was that Crystal Sword pickup. Holding on to it and waiting for that Cecil really helped you out. And you got that Sand Ruby at a perfect time. Yeah, just how did you feel about the overall run of the seed? I mean,
Yeah, I kind of, as you play these seeds, you're always hoping for like an early adamant or something to give you some power. I was a little worried because the Tella and Pelham start didn't give me anything really strong in Ebling Castle. So I was still, when I was in the underground, I was definitely hunting for something. And in Sylph Cave, I was just able to line up my agility and get Pelham up to Quake and went for a shot to try to find something. And I wasn't sure if a Crystal Sword was going to be enough, but I knew that Cecil wasn't in the package route, and it's usually he's on the giant, but in this time I got lucky and I was able to find him early on enough to get levels on him. And yeah, it's always nice to have a really comfortable run through when you find a Cecil with a crystal sword pretty early.
You
sure.
demonstrate a lot of game knowledge pulling off that Sylph Cave grind and Sylph Cave trap chest pretty well, and definitely rewarded with that Crystal Sword. One fade you did make, though, that I was concerned with, that definitely paid out in your favor, though, was you faded Cave Bahamut and faded the orb up there. What made you want to do that?
Yeah, I kind of knew even with my party setup, it was going to take some time, and I still had some objectives that I needed to do. I knew Fey March objectives are still on the table, so it's pretty fast to go back to Bahamut and go clear that if needed. But that CPU fight is something it's really hard to do that fast, even with Berserk Crystal and like Blink strats. And so I just decided, well, I'm going to try to see if I can fade it this time around. And yeah, it looked out today.
Sure. For sure. But overall, yeah, an impressive performance.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any other thoughts about the seed?
I think this seed went pretty well. It's kind of, for me, a little more typical of how these seeds go with 17 out of 17 key atoms. But yeah, I just enjoyed playing it. And shout out to Guerin, my opponent, and giving a good race for everyone. And here's looking out for my next race, I guess. So thanks, everyone.
Of course, I've definitely seen you put in the practice and asyncs and pickup races prior to this tournament, so your practice has definitely paid off.
Yeah, I'm glad it's paid off a little bit at least. So thanks, Rabon.
Absolutely. Good luck to you in your match against Dingley, which we should see, I think, sometime next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Word.
Any parting thoughts for you there?
No, I just again want to shout out thanks to everyone who's helping, all the restreamers and the people keeping track of the key items, and of course the fans of Free Enterprise watching. I just want to say thanks for being part of the community, and it's always been great since the moment I joined.
Likewise, you've done a lot for this community as well. It's been greatly appreciated, and yeah, good luck to you in the next stage, and hope to see more of you, possibly in that bracket stage.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting on a great show.
And now over on Guerin's side, knocking out that Dr. Luge, taking some poison walk, which is always fun, and now going to walk into their Z fight.
So entering the Z fight with a stronger party than Galeswift had should be of little problem whatsoever. I believe that is a cursed food, so well anchored. We're going to see, again, a ton of damage coming out from that Excal Cecil, from that, I believe, Defense Sword Cane. And we may even get a very angry Rosa as a result, too. I believe that Rosa may still have an Artie Bow on.
Why not? Let's go. Yeah, this Zeramus is not going to have a good time here. Guerin, unfortunately, still has one more race, though, against Technolink for the group, but unfortunately, I believe is no longer in contention for the bracket stages.
Nope, I believe we'll be running that race for glory, which is as good a reason as any to run a race.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, Destiny no longer in Guerin's hands in the Karate Gi group, but still put up a fantastic race this evening. And yeah, sometimes glory is more important than victory.
Very true. Very, very true. Just briefly looking ahead, we're looking at the Karate Gi group having to face off against the Cat Claw group right off the bat. And you got some big names over there too. Judge Joe, Lord Bob Bree, Poydrak. So Galeswift might have their work cut out for them should they make it to that portion of the tournament.
Yep, there are some big names waiting. There's going to be no slouches whatsoever once we enter brackets. Everyone will have earned their place in that location, in that particular part of the tournament. So a lot of great free enterprise still waiting for us down the road.
Can't wait. And shout out again earlier, we mentioned a little later on tonight, I believe, a match between a Mike and a ex Pancras. Something to check out once this is all wrapped up.
Yeah, I believe this will be our only match, I believe, in the group stages between a 4-0 and another 4-0. A very pivotal race in the Gaia Hat group, Hat. And it is going to be a great time. I don't believe it's restreamed, but it will be over on Khadgar starting at 11 p.m. for anyone interested.
Fantastic. And Scala mentioning, in the Discord, nice little watch party. That's something to check out because, you're not going to want to miss that next match. Meanwhile, on Guerin's side, this cup of noodle is getting pretty toasty. I don't see it lasting much longer.
Deciding not to Zerk up the Rosa, just casting white, perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
You can nuke your cup of noodle. I guess you can pray your cup of noodle away. Either way, it's going to take off.
I'm always looking for new ways to spice up my cup of noodle.
We have a shake here, and I believe we'll see a big bang. I am not sure if this is nerfed. Fu may be taking a dive as a result. Or it looks like we pushed.
Yeah. Yep, they're getting another turn in.
Yep, we have definitely pushed a big bang here.
There we go. Yep.
But this big bang will not be pushed. It's either kill or be killed. Although this particular big bang is a low roll, or at least doesn't have as many multipliers associated with it, so you generally won't see a very high 2700 HP damage coming out of it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, not bad. Everybody stayed up. Doesn't have much more to go, I believe. Pushing about 7 to 10, and there is the flash. GG's Guerin.
Crack, bang, boom. There goes that cup of noodle, and Guerin finishes with a time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 26 seconds. GG to them.
GG's. And we are joined by Guerin. Guerin, GG's. Great race. How you feeling?
Not too bad. I made one little goof there. I think you guys remember what that one was. Any on that field cave there?
Oh, that too, yeah. No, yeah. Unfortunately, a costly mistake. You'll watch this back. You'll see that you and Galeswift were. I mean, the seed pretty much pushed you in certain directions, and early on, you two were just almost tripping over each other, doing checks back and forth. But yeah, the pivotal moment I feel, and you'll see, or Ryvon can say as well, was that unfortunate reset out of Luca Cave.
Yeah, it cost about, a minute or two, I think?
thereabouts. Yeah, it did cost a little bit of time, unfortunately. But you did have advantages early on too. You took that Rosa from that package. What made you want to take that Rosa?
I think I was going to find another one.
Touche.
That's correct. You definitely did not find another one.
And I didn't know what I was going to find in terms of healers. It's like, Fu isn't always been in the seed, so who knows?
No, very true. Yeah, and the item distribution didn't seem to really push anybody in any one direction. Just yeah, you were just dealing with what you were given. Rosa, a great pickup, and as we saw in your Z fight, like can make a difference there. So yeah, nobody was mad at that. But yeah, just a slip
They
up
had the
here and
Artemis
there.
bow at the time too, so it was a good weapon for her.
There you go.
She definitely was a pretty good early game offense for your party that sped up quite a few checks. But speaking of speed up a few checks, you found that Cecil a little earlier than Galeswift did and picked him up. You did have that light sword for him. Was there any inclination to go searching for, a shiny sword, or were you thinking, hey, I have to forge anyway? When I forge, I'll just get that shiny sword then.
I knew there was a forge coming, and I figured Kane has a defense sword, so I can probably get through until he finds it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, definitely paid off. I mean, sure, a shiny sword would have sped things up a little bit, but you're right. A light sword and a defense sword over on Kane. You got through the, you definitely got to the moon in a relatively quick amount of time. Speaking of that moon, though, you did take a check that your opponent in those orbs over there in Bahamut Cave. Did you feel like you had to leave that up there? Were you just uncomfortable leaving that up there, that check up there, just lingering?
I was figuring that if I missed it, it would be the time I would need to actually pick it up, and of course, I guessed wrong, but I've been burned by leaving on the moon before, so I want to try getting Gold Moon cleared.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense while you're up there. I mean, given the key item distribution, we all knew you were going to have to go through it anyway. Might as well. I liked it.
It was a nice chain when you go back to the Earth. If I'd finished the sealed cave, it was really like bing, bang, boom, right through.
All just kind of buttoned itself up. Yeah, very true. But entertaining nonetheless. You two put on a great race. I got to say, like you said, it was very close there, and very entertaining to watch.
Well, thanks for calling it. I'll have to watch it back at some point and see how it went.
Absolutely. What are your plans moving forward? I do believe this might be the end of your run here with the Adamant Cup, but anything you're looking forward to? Any matches you see in the horizon?
Honestly, I'm still trying to deal with computer problems that happened right before this cup started. So, just looking to get another computer going at some point pretty soon.
Well, hey, at least graphic card prices are coming down, so it shouldn't be too costly to do so, right?
No, I think I got a pretty good deal. It's just waiting now for it.
Well, good things come to those who wait. And speaking of waiting, though, you do have one more match left to run in the Karate Key group, mainly for glory and for honor. I believe you're placing Techno League later this week, correct?
Yes, that would be 1 and 3 versus 0 and 4, I think.
Still a chance to go 2 and 3 on your part. Do you have that game scheduled yet?
Yes, it is. It's on Saturday afternoon.
Well, we'll be watching out for it.
Yeah, for sure. You, again, put on a great performance today. Definitely looking forward to seeing more.
Well, thanks, guys. It's the funniest thing. The slowest race I've done the whole tournament is the one I won.
Rando will rando.
Yes, it will.
But yeah, Guerin, what are your thoughts? Any final thoughts on the seed overall, your play? I other than that one little thing, I don't think you have anything to really, I think you did really well.
Oh, thanks. I don't really have any thoughts on it. I mean, it was a pretty straightforward seed. It was a bit of a slog. But, not too painful. I mean, that pain man was about the only problem, and it's like, oh, you have food, you have Cure 4, you got an elixir. Okay, that can work.
Yep, you definitely took what the seed gave you, and you did well with it. I mean, you did a 27 out of 28 clear in an hour 55. That's pretty good.
Very true.
Sadly, just no music tonight.
The one check the game didn't actually force, right?
Harumph would be proud.
But yeah, well, thank you very much, Guerin, again, and yeah, good luck against Technolink. Just for do it for the Gipper.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll have some fun with it, and I'll probably go back to doing some ladder stuff.
Well,
Yeah, I'm sure ladder will be hopping pretty soon.
Looking forward to it. Well, Guerin, yeah. I just want to thank you again for being for the restream, and yeah, hope you take a moment, maybe check this out. You'll definitely gain some insight probably from Rybon's side, not so much from my side, but that's fine. And again, yeah, GG's, great race and great performance.
All right, thanks, guys. See you next time around.
Yeah, take care. Good with the computer. Well, Rybon, we did it.
Dubbird, well done on your first commentate or your comms today.
I don't know. Again, you did all the heavy lifting. I appreciate it. It was an absolute honor, and thank you to Bardic Panda for pushing all the buttons, and Karma for doing everything. This was a blast. Thank you guys.
Thanks to both of you as well, and again, thank you, Dubbird. Well done again. And I just want to call out before we raid on over to Soapbox Gamer, who is doing some practice of Adamant Group stages. This is our last restreamed race for tonight, but we do have 4 more tomorrow evening. Starting at 7 o'clock on Free Enterprise, we'll have Rex Banner versus Ultros Professional. At 7 o'clock as well, over on Free Enterprise 2, we will have Microcorgs versus Dusty Griff. At 8 o'clock, we have Poydrak versus Lord Bob Bree at an RPG Limit Break, and Free Enterprise again at 10 o'clock, Fried Potato versus Infineous, a very large slate of very important games across multiple groups tomorrow evening.
This group stage is finishing up very nicely. Super exciting matches coming up. I'm looking forward to it, and I didn't get a chance to, but congratulations to you as well, Rybon, and your group moving on to the bracket stages, and good luck. This is super exciting.
Oh, thanks. I'll need it.
But yeah, I believe that does it for us. We're going to be jumping over to Soapbox here. Try not to spoil anything for them, given the fact. Let this kind of clear through. And then again, just a reminder, there's another race going on this evening, but unfortunately not restreamed, but worth checking out for sure. And then all the ones on Friday. But thank you guys again. Rybon, been an absolute pleasure. And yeah.
Till next time, everyone.
Yes, sir.